scheduled. Live. The Flip Flop Power Hour. We are live. Everybody, welcome back to the channel. We've got people waiting in the waiting room. I can see we are international today. We got Jonik, we got Paul. All right, so we also have a guest, Julio, who's in our Apex group, and he's in our Flip Flop Flipper free group. So we're doing deals, guys. We're inviting people to come and do deals with us. Julio happens to be in Orlando, Florida, and we spent some time with him. McKenna and I did the day before yesterday looking at some real estate. And he's got some questions about a flip that he's looking at doing that's for sale here in Kissimmee. Something's going horribly wrong with our... We're all good. We're all good. All right, Adon, let's bring people on. You pop up and then bring Julio in. Julio, you got 15 minutes where we can go through and answer questions for you. And then the way this works best, guys, is that I see we've got 10, 15 people here. Everybody give us a like. And then when it's time to jump in and ask questions, just put them in the chat. You can start doing that now. We'll go through as many questions as we possibly can. We'll go for about an hour. We try to be very cognizant of everybody's time, and it's Monday night, so we'll go from 6:30 to 7:30. If we're getting good questions, maybe we can go a few minutes longer. But Julio, welcome to the channel, man. Good to see you again.
Hi. How you doing, guys? Good evening to all.
Well. We're doing well. So
good to hear. Good to hear.
This is your 15 minutes, and we'll answer questions for you. Of course, we will then open it up to the other people and let them ask questions too. So why don't you show us what you got, and let's jump into it.
All right. So I got this property here. Can you guys see my screen?
We can. Yeah.
Awesome. So I got this property over here in Kissimmee. Right, and the wholesaler, they're asking $285,000 for it. So at first glance, you see that for example, as far as the flooring is concerned, I would leave that tile over there. The kitchen looks fairly good, it's a very clean house. Very clean house. But then you arrive to these rooms, right, with the carpet flooring, and then you see the outdated bathroom, right? So far, numbers wise in renovation, I would say $10,000 per bathroom. This is a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom property at 1,554 square feet. So other than that, I would just go ahead and base my numbers on that. I'm currently at $25,000 the renovation. And the only thing that worries me, which is going to be my first question, is that the wholesaler told me that the property's roof is 19 years old. Yeah. So that would be my first question. You guys, is this something that I should be worried about? Should I send somebody over there to do an inspection on the roof? Tell me about it.
You don't need to do an inspection because you have to replace it to sell it.
Well, okay, so I was going to say that maybe you don't have to replace it, but
keep those photos up a little bit.
A 19-year-old roof, you're going to have to replace in order for someone to be able to get a loan.
Yeah.
And so I would imagine, going to make a cash offer on this and then do the $25,000 worth of repairs. But man, if you have to do the roof, your repair costs just jumped up by 80% because that new roof is 15 to 20 grand. Maybe you could do a roof over, like if it's in good shape and you can just shingle over the shingles. That's something that can cut your cost down a little bit. So if you're going to send a roofer over there, I would ask him about that. The likelihood is he's going to tell you that the roof needs replacing. But if it's not leaking, you can shingle over shingles, and you can do that one time without having to rip them off and then replace the roof. And it won't save you half of the money, but it'll cut your cost down by a third at least. So it'll save you a lot.
That's not bad.
Richard is saying that he knows a roofer, so that's good. So and hey guys, by the way, that's how our community works really well, is when we're networking together and when we're talking like that. And Richard, so if you're in Orlando and you're able to help Julio to find a roofer and we can connect the two of you guys, that's what we're trying to do here, both inside of our YouTube channel and especially on the school platform. So we have the Flip Flop Flipper school platform now, and it's free to join. So if you're joining us through YouTube or Facebook and you want that link, we'll put that link throughout this. We'll have that. It's going across the bottom right now. It says join our school community, link in the comment. So
so Julio, when you're looking at this one, have you run comps on what this house is? Because I'm sure this is in a cookie cutter neighborhood, just looking at it.
Yeah, I ran some comps, and
yeah, what are you looking at?
There's one that caught my attention. I have it here on Redfin. So this one sold for $325,000, and as you guys can probably tell, the house was sold in as-is condition.
Yeah, very
Tile
similar.
flooring. See the kitchen, nothing was done to it. These
kitchen.
are.
Yeah, I'd say the house that you're buying has a better kitchen than this house.
Oh, way better. This is old.
Yeah.
No.
Right, and so this one was sold for $325,000. Like I said, look at the bathrooms. Right, and I think this is a good comp, because if this was sold for that amount of money with no renovation done to it, I think this is a potential flip then.
So do you have any comps that are at the higher price,
been done.
365 price that were in better condition? Are you able to pull up any of those?
Yeah. Let me just pull up my spreadsheet real quick.
And here's something that we don't talk about probably nearly enough. There is such a thing as over renovating, and I would think that in a neighborhood like this, what I would caution you to not do is don't over renovate. So just, you want to look at the other comps, the comps that so this house 350, look and see what they've done.
This one is already staged by the looks of it, correct?
Yeah. Are they asking 350, or is this a sold comp?
No, this has already been sold. This was sold back in April.
So then the pictures were either staged, or this is what the people had the house looking like while they were living in it when it was for sale. But it's basically the same house, same neighborhood. The staging really makes a difference, doesn't it? I like their floors a lot better than I like the subject house. So the subject house has those 12-inch tiles, and I know you don't have that in the renovation to replace them.
No.
If all of the sold comps at the 365 have nice floors like this, I don't know how you get away without replacing them. And also, just looking right now at their kitchen, and their kitchen and bathroom are significantly nicer. Man, so you might be underestimating your renovation here, because if you have to renovate to this level, you're not doing it for 25 grand.
No,
unfortunately.
Okay.
And Julio, you asked earlier too, if I have a price per square foot for renovations or anything like that.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people do, and I actually think that you have some. I've seen some of your spreadsheets. I like them. I always go per room when I'm estimating. And when I'm being really efficient about it, I'll have an Excel sheet where I've got a price per room. For example, I can say I need 1 kitchen, 2 bathrooms, X amount of flooring by square foot. I'll have roof squares. If I'm really getting crazy, I'll have a price per square on a roof. These roofs are probably 20 squares, something like that. I digress. Anyways, and then what I can do is have the address, and I can input the changes that I want, and it'll spit out a number for me. I've done that before, and to be honest, I find it's a lot of work, where it's easier to just overestimate, come up with a bigger number than, estimate on the high end.
Yeah.
And then you kind of know that, okay, this is probably where I'll be at. Maybe I'll be even a little bit cheaper. But give yourself the space to just be on the high end and then do these quickly. Where if it takes you, an hour to do a property, that's just too slow, I think. What do you think?
Oh, so you're saying before you're making your offer, and you're saying, all right, I believe that it's worth $365,000, and I'm just looking at it, going room by room. I'm going to guess that the renovation is going to be $60,000.
Yeah.
And then maybe if I don't need to replace all the floors and I don't have to replace the roof, I'll be able to get it done for $35,000 or $40,000.
Exactly.
And then buy or make your offer based on the higher renovation number. And another reason that I like this idea of kind of overestimating what the renovations cost right now is for the last couple of years, renovations have just been skyrocketing up.
Very expensive.
It has gone, I mean, really just 5-6 years ago, the house you pulled up, the subject house, I could have renovated everything, roof, floors, kitchens, and everything, paint inside and out for 30-35 grand.
Yeah.
Those days have just passed by. They're gone.
Yeah.
They're probably not coming back either. So when they passed by in COVID was because materials went way up. And so the renovators, the contractors or the subs realized, what people were paying. And it's very rare that people will then drop back down. So if that guy's able to save money on some materials now because they have come back down, he's thinking he's making more money. So it's gotten significantly harder to renovate a house for the low amount of money that we used to do. And I mean, really 5 years ago, before COVID, I think I could have renovated a 1,500 square foot house that's like this for 35 grand, and it would have done everything.
I think that's fair.
It would have done everything. I do see. Stop looking at your comp here. This 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,268 square feet. Mm-hmm. That's a really good comp for you because you have
because it's like it's half of the work done. See how the kitchen looks.
Yeah, let's look at the kitchen.
And the bathroom doesn't look.
Yeah, so this isn't as good a looking house as the last one you pulled up. It's a smaller house. Now, one thing about smaller houses, they're going to get more per square footage than the bigger houses, but it shouldn't be that big of a difference. But 12 or 1,300 square feet to 1,500 or 1,600 square feet, but it will be a little bit less. So, I mean, what you can figure out 340 divided by 1,268 square feet is going to give you a price per square foot. 268.
Got it there. Nice.
Yeah. So then if you multiply that 268 times your square footage, it'll put you over 400. I don't think you're getting 400,000 on your house, but
I mean that what I did to get to the after repair value is that I averaged all of the comps, dollar price per square feet, right, and that's how I got the approximate after repair value.
Yeah,
I think that's
you're right. You're right about the other house.
You did these comps really well. Yeah, I think that you're right on with the comp. I like that it's a cookie cutter neighborhood and that it's pretty easy to determine the value of these houses. Mm-hmm. I think you might have to renovate it a little bit better than it is right now. Like, I just don't know that you can save the floors in that other house and in the subject house. Even though this 1,200 square foot house isn't renovated a lot better, those floors are a significant upgrade.
Yeah, if you could get away with floors,
see here, it looks from that angle. Sorry to catch you there, guys. From an angle picture, the flooring looks good, but when you see these pictures over here, this room isn't brand new. I think, in my opinion, I don't know. Right?
It doesn't look. They don't look nearly as good as the other house that we just looked at. The one.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
For a little bit more.
And here, I guess they did like a light renovation on the bathroom, like super light on at least on the entrance. The shower entrance.
So maybe you could upgrade the kitchen and the floors, and
on my subject house, you say?
On your subject house.
Well, remember that the kitchen it's very clean, right?
Oh, you're actually so you're right. So your kitchen is pretty good. So now you got to do floors and maybe you upgrade the bathroom sinks and vanities.
Yes,
you try and keep
my main focus on my numbers were low, to put it that way, because I was just focused on changing the carpet on the master bedroom and the other 2 bedrooms, and of course upgrading the bathroom. That would complete the entire house. And I mean, I know most people like LVT over tile flooring, but the tile floor doesn't look bad. That's why I want to see the property in person also.
Yeah,
to see how it looks live.
It might be a personal preference, but I hate those square floors.
No, me too. No, me too. Don't get me wrong. I mean,
they look dated. I'm going to be honest. 15 years ago, we'd have looked at that and gone, "Wow, that's amazing," right? But that's just
not the style now.
The times change.
So you can get that for $285. how's that conversation been? Do you think there's room there, or
Well, I already spoke with the wholesaler, and she told me that she needs to speak with her partner because he's the
Okay.
one managing the property. Sounds more like maybe they're co-wholesaling, maybe.
gotcha?
So she needs to talk to him, and I'm gonna get back to her and tell her, hey, listen, have you spoken with your partner? What do you think the renovation cost will be for this property, and what would be the minimum offer that you guys are willing to accept? And
Yeah.
that way I can run my numbers and see if it makes sense, right? Pocket wise.
What company is your wholesaler with?
Man, I didn't ask her.
Okay. If it's Keegley or New Western, there's a third one too.
Mm-hmm.
All of their deals are daisy chained. And it sounds like this one as well, when they have to go back and talk to their partner.
Yeah.
That means that another wholesaler has the actual contract and they're just trying to sell it to you. Not that that helps unless you can find the original guy and you can cut out the extra person, but that's tough to do.
Yeah.
Have you guys considered closing costs and commissions and everything like that when you're running your numbers?
Yeah. Let me show you my spreadsheet here. So here's the subject property, right? With all the information, asking price, what's the price per square foot, and then the renovation cost and all of that. And here you see all of my comps, right?
Yep.
And at the end, I just go ahead here in the offer tab. I just play with the numbers, right? My original offer is 235K. And that, of course, changes the numbers down here for profit. The closing cost, I have it at 5%, and the realtor fee at another 5% per one of our conversations, McKenna.
Yeah, so 10% on your back end closing costs, and that's pretty fair. That's assuming no seller concessions, and seller concessions right now are changing to include some of the buyer side realtors fees and things like that. So you guys, you'll be hearing more about this. They just destroyed the way that the MLS works over the weekend, and figure it out. It's going to get a little bit screwy. However, I still think 10% is a fair number.
Yeah. In
Central Florida to use as a back end. You know, when you sell it for 365, you're going to lose 10% off the top. That's a pretty good fair figure to use. So I think that's right. So
looking at the sheet, the only thing that I think I would question is that $25,000 reno cost.
Yeah.
Because of the roof.
Because of the roof, exactly. Same here.
Roof and the floors and the bathrooms.
If you see here, I have the comment section here. Says carpet and bedrooms. Bathrooms need renovation. One room has LVT, and in red, roof is 2005 from 2005.
Yeah,
I think this is a great spreadsheet, though.
Yeah, good job on this too. I mean, and so Julio, how long have you been doing this?
Since I started the course, like it's gonna be a month soon, next week.
All right,
with you guys.
I love that answer. I asked the question without knowing the answer for sure, but I know from talking to you, you're relatively new to this.
Yeah.
You came into, I think you saw a YouTube video. You joined us on school. You then are in the Apex group and you've taken our course. You put this spreadsheet together yourself. It's phenomenal.
Thank you.
And I say this kind of all the time. If you do this kind of work on the spreadsheet, making your offers, do it 100 times, no question you're going to find the deal. You're going to find something that works. This one could be it, right? Like, so you're only asking for a 17% discount at 235.
Well, he needs to change his reno.
You do need to change your reno, and if you change your renovation costs up 20 grand or put it up 45, that will affect your bottom line.
Yeah.
Now is $44,000 in profit good enough on?
Are
we in the 70% rule here?
Yes. My offer is the formula. Well, I changed the number here just now. But the formula is ARV times 70% minus the reno cost, right? And that's
and that
the
gives you a maximum offer.
And then for the profit, I just subtract everything to.
Okay. Make sure you're subtracting the closing costs and realtor fees as well. From
yeah. Here, well, you can see it. You can see it here, right? the profit's going to be ARV minus rental cost minus the offer minus closing cost minus realtor fee.
I mean, the 70% offer should include the 10% for closing costs and realtor fees as well.
Oh, included there too?
Yeah, so it should be purchase
twice?
price, reno, closing costs, realtor fees, everything should be at that 70%.
Oh, okay. Included.
Yeah.
I need to revise the formula then. Because the original, let me see here on the formula that is not touched on another property I was looking at in Daytona. This is the original formula. I have it at after repair value times 70% minus the renovation cost. So I have to add to it the closing cost, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And the realtor fees.
And the realtor fees.
Yeah, take them out.
From the beginning?
And you can see it gives you,
I
mean, like on this example here, so your total investment is somewhere close to 150,000 or 175,000, and then in order to make another 75,000, you're selling it for 250. That math makes sense to me. You don't want to risk $175,000, $200,000 to only make 20 grand, 25 grand, because it just gets you in such a sticky situation if the market softens at all and your ARV comes down 15 grand.
So what do you have him offering?
15,000 on this.
No, that doesn't make any sense.
This is a different property.
That's a different property, yeah. Yeah, I was just changing. Let me do the here.
I was gonna say you can offer more than 15,000 on that.
They're gonna laugh at me for sure. But what I can do here is
if you're gonna offer 15,000 on those, you're gonna have to do like you're gonna get 1 in a million.
Yeah. I know. That's way too low.
Just have AI do it all. Send out a bunch.
So, but here for the offer, what you're saying is that so I just have to include the closing costs and the realtor fee to that offer.
Yeah.
Not subtracted at the end after the property is fixed and sold.
Correct.
Oh, okay.
And the reason for that is, like I was saying, 44,000 on this deal. While 44,000 is a ton of money, pretend the market softens and you only sell for 340. That's like half your profit. Then you make no money. Or you sell for, 340 and you need to pay a realtor a little bit more. You just get really close to breaking even without including those closing costs and realtor fees up front. So, if everything goes perfectly, 44,000 is a great amount of money to make.
Well, and there's another reason that sort of in real time, I will agree with McKenna here. I believe the Central Florida market is softening, and maybe it's gonna trend down over the next few months, year, 18 months,
until they drop interest rates.
And so being even more careful is important. If we were still in a market that was clearly trending up, then I would think it's perfectly safe to do it the way you were doing it, and just know that you're going to lose 10% on the back end. However, we're trending flat to down right now. At least that's what it seems like. I think they blew up our MLS system, and that's bad for us. If they lower interest rates next month, maybe it'll start to trend back up. But you want to be very careful, especially when you're spending, $200,000, $300,000, $400,000. That correction, that 5% correction that could happen month over month, can crush you.
Yeah, it takes away all your profit, and then you're stuck with a loan or you're stuck with an angry investor. And by just adding in the $34,000, it brings your profit margin up, almost double.
I think we've got a whole bunch of questions inside of the chat.
Yeah,
we should jump into that because we went a little bit over our 15 minutes. But we can keep having this conversation, Julio, and let's see if anybody asks any questions about
Absolutely.
And what do we have for questions, guys? We'll open it up. Put your questions in the chat. Thanks, Julio, for showing us that and spending 20 minutes with us, 25 minutes with us. That was awesome.
Yes.
And,
I hope you got something from it.
And if people who have questions about it, we'll bring Julio back up.
Yep. And then also, guys, if you want us to go through your spreadsheets, if you want us to look at your deals just like that, we have a contest going on in the Flip Flop Flipper community on School where if you get the most amount of posts, we're going to bring you on next week. The most amount of points, I should say, not posts. So with that, let's start getting into questions here. We'll start with Paul.
And let me say this. If you want to participate in the contest, make a post tonight. Hey, I want to participate in the contest. Let your post make it super evident for us so that McKenna and I know when we're looking at this stuff on Saturday or Sunday night that Paul has been in there and been active, and that if he's in second place because nobody can beat Aaron, then we can call Paul,
yep.
right, and bring him on. So we want to get different people in here, and Aaron is awesome, and I'm going to have Aaron back on very soon, maybe next week or the week after that anyway, because he's got a deal that I'm following and that I'm really excited about too. So
yeah, but he's hard to beat. If you beat Aaron, though, automatic spot.
Yeah.
All right, Paul, I do have a question about using a hard money lender to get a property. Say after it's all reno and fixed up, can you go to a bank and get a cash out refi on the property just using the income?
Yeah, so that, especially stateside, Paul, that is called DSCR loan, and they happen all of the time. It's more tricky on the island of Puerto Rico, and so, yeah, this would be short term in Puerto Rico. It's a lot more tricky. And in fact, the DSCR loans, they showed up on the island like 2 years ago, and they were working for a couple of months, and then they just went away overnight. And nobody has brought them back at this point. At least we haven't seen them bring them back on a large scale where we can say, yes, absolutely, you can do that. So I think they are coming back. I've heard they are coming back, but the better way to refinance something on the island is to buy it maybe in an LLC or a partnership, and then sell it to someone who's got good credit, who's part of your partnership, and get the good terms as if it's a second home or it's your primary residence. The island of Puerto Rico does really good with in the box lending. Anything that is not completely in the box, what's in the box? FHA loans, VA loans, conventional loans, all of that in the box stuff you can get done. Anything that becomes investor loan, DSCR loan, gets real tricky. Commercial stuff, really hard to do on the island. It's changing. It's changing slowly. We were almost there like 2 years ago, 18 months ago, and then they pulled the rug out from under us when they started raising the interest rates. And otherwise, I think we would have been like full on in doing that. And we were set up for it, right? Like we've got a whole bunch of cash flowing properties on the island, and we were ready to go get DSCR loans and pull out a bunch of cheap capital, cheap loans, but it's still difficult.
Does William Halleck have a product that could help with this, or he just has conventional?
He's got all the in the box stuff. He was doing the DSCRs for like 6 weeks, and then that went away. So we're all hopeful that they're coming back.
But, and one day they will.
And one day they will. And
all right.
Cedric is in the group too. He's a lender, and you guys can connect with him because he's got his finger on the pulse of what's going on the island as well, as far as the lending side goes.
Yeah. Pips pays for it. Hey, Pip, you're here every week, man. Do you guys have a designated checklist on buying property in Puerto Rico? For example, checking any type of debt with the CRIM, beneficiaries, liens, etc. What do you do when you find a property? What's the checklist?
I don't have a checklist. I should have a checklist. This is a great idea. However, what we do is when we make an offer, we make it subject to clear title, which means that we'll take our accepted offer and hand it to the for lack of a better term, I'll say title company. It's actually called a notary on the island, and we will give the contract to them and say, we need you to run title on this, and we want to check for all of the stuff that's listed here. What's the debt on CRIM? What are the outstanding mortgages? Who are the beneficiaries? All of this stuff is what will happen as part of a normal title search on the island of Puerto Rico. And it's really important that you do that, right? Because there are some really tricky gotchas. Like you could accidentally buy something near the coast that the person owns it, they have the right to sell it, they don't owe any money on it, but they don't own the land underneath it. So you have to be careful. You have to take it and go through the steps. And just part of the steps to buy something on the island of Puerto Rico is to have a title search done. Same anywhere. I mean, that's not different in Puerto Rico or in Florida or Texas or anywhere else. It's the kind of hiccups that you find are different on the island. At least I haven't ever come across a time when I was buying a house in Florida that I wouldn't have owned the land underneath it, unless it was a trailer park or something like that, and it would be very clear. But so that's what I think you've got the checklist right there, and you get all those questions answered by handing your accepted contract off to the notary public, the person who's going to close the deal. They'll do a title search,
and that's part of the purchase process. You have to do it that way. It's just it's standard. Pip, a new roof would be a good selling point and reassurance, wouldn't it? This is going back to the Kissimmee house.
Yeah, no question about it. And if you're going to try to sell a flip to an FHA buyer, which is what we like to do, we like value add real estate investing and fixing something up to sell to a first time home buyer or a working class neighborhood like what we were looking at with Julio. And you're not going to get those loans unless you have a new roof. So it doesn't add any value to the house, but it adds the ability to sell. And it does mean that if you've got a 20-year-old roof, you might have no leaks and there's no reason to put a new roof on it, and you could hold out for 5 years. But if you're trying to sell that onto the next person, you're almost always going to have to replace that roof.
Yeah. I would say too, one of my groomsmen just bought a house and I was showing him properties. I was his realtor. And one of the main things I would tell him about is, hey, this roof is 10 years old. You've got 5-10 years on it, and you're going to have to replace it. And that's $15,000, $20,000, whatever it is. Where when we were looking at properties that were brand new roof, a 2-year-old roof, I knew that he was more reassured by that and he was willing to pay more money for those newer, nicer roofs because he wouldn't have this big expense in the future.
Yeah.
Yannick, questions for later. What is your personal experience in adding renewable energy like solar panels and heat pumps when doing a complete renovation? And how do you personally handle the energy certificates?
I don't have any experience with this. We avoid
them in Florida.
Well, we are buying something on the island of Puerto Rico right now that's got a complete solar system, 2 Tesla batteries, and it's freaking awesome. And it's got, when I buy it, I'm taking over 20 years worth of like amortized loan on it.
Okay.
And it's $400 a month, and that will be my power bill at that property, right? I don't have any experience with the energy certificates that exist, and I think that's a really good question. I'll do some research on that, Jonik, because I believe that the island of Puerto Rico, which is where I'm investing heavily, is really encouraging this kind of alternative energy stuff. Plus, the grid just kind of sucks anyway. Yeah. So to have a house that we're thinking of living in that comes with full solar,
that's pretty sweet.
That's pretty sweet.
That's good.
Yeah.
All right, Ricardo. Ricardo's the man with a roofer, and he's given us some pricing as well. Noel, while you were talking about estimating renovation costs, could you also talk about Puerto Rican renovation cost estimates? How do they differ? A lot of them are the same, but a lot of them are pretty different.
The entire time, 6.5 years that I've been on the island of Puerto Rico, it's cost about the same to renovate a house in Florida as it has cost to renovate a house on the island of Puerto Rico. By the way, during the time that I've been here, the prices have skyrocketed. When I first came to the island of Puerto Rico, we could renovate a full renovation house for 35 grand. We could do everything: electric, plumbing, paint the walls inside and out, new floors, everything for 35 grand. And now that same renovation is $75,000-$80,000. So it's doubled, right? And it's pretty close that it's doubled here it's pretty close that it's doubled here in Orlando over the same period of time. So it doubled in a different way. Materials got really hard to get and went really kind of crazy on the island of Puerto Rico. And then labor followed after that. But labor has gone up in both places. Materials went up in both places. I thought it might be slightly cheaper to renovate things in Puerto Rico when I first got there. Now maybe it's slightly more expensive on the island than it is in Florida, but they're both they're neck and neck. It's really expensive to do these renovations, and they basically doubled over the last 6 years. The cost of a renovation.
Ricardo's asking, can you share the sheet? Julio, I'm going to bring you back in here, put you on the stage. Ricardo's asking if you're willing to share your Excel sheet. Is that something you would post in the school community?
Yeah. No problem.
All right.
$5 each download.
$5 each download. He's going to put his Venmo in the comment. You better send it to him.
He's an entrepreneur.
I put my Zelle information there, guys. No. Just kidding. I'll put a copy there. McKenna, if you want to revise it, give it a quick look at it. Then we can post it on the group. So
what you could do, make a copy of it in Google Sheets, post that link, and then I can go in there as an editor. And but I think what you have is good. I like your sheet. Absolutely. And it's nothing too complicated either, guys. He doesn't have any crazy formulas in there. He just has a good layout, and he's inputting the data himself and makes it really legible.
And I'm seeing Ricardo's joining us on Facebook. I don't know if he's a part of the free community on School or not, but send the link to everybody so that they can join us over there. And if Ricardo, then if you're in Orlando, maybe try to hook up with Julio as well.
All right, Julio, we'll put you back on the backstage. Thanks, man. All right, Andy, great stuff, guys. I want you to make some reels. And Ricardo, again, do you only buy on the MLS or do you do personal auctions?
Yeah, Ricardo, so if you're asking me, I've been doing this for 25 years. I don't think there is a way that I have not been a buyer, right? Like, I've bought from Bandit signs, I've bought from the MLS, I've bought HUD houses, I've bought from auctions of all sorts, tax deeds, foreclosures, auction.com, pretty much you name it, I've done it. And when I've seen something that works really well, where I can start to find some deals that way, then I focus in on that. So that for a long time, early on in my career, you couldn't buy a HUD home, for instance. A HUD home is a foreclosed house that was government-backed loans. And I set up a series of nonprofits to go to those auctions and buy the things at the top of the list that nobody could get. And nobody could buy a HUD house in Central Florida cheaper than coming through to us and buying it through our nonprofits that we had set up. I literally have bought in every kind of way that you can imagine, subject to stuff, seller finance stuff, you name it, we've probably done it.
What's your preferred right now?
My preferred right now in this market is buying probably MLS, subject to. I certainly really like looking at the foreclosure sale list and like looking at the tax deed lists. So in the States, for the rest of this year, I will probably focus pretty heavily on the tax deeds, because there are a lot of people who are in trouble and they're behind on their taxes, and so they have distressed properties and they're distressed sellers, and it's a free list and it costs me nothing to focus on it, right? So
love it.
I like that a lot. I do think also the MLS just got blown up, and because of that, there's going to be some arbitrage there. There's going to be a way to make money that I'm not exactly sure what it is yet. I just know that they had a system that worked for a really long period of time and they just destroyed it. So the only people that I can really point to that I think that that's going to benefit are real estate investors. So if I was, if I'm really looking at stuff in Central Florida, I'll probably look heavily at the MLS, because there'll be some bad realtors who won't know what to do now. And houses are going to sit.
This is my personal prediction with no data behind it, just kind of what I think and feel will happen, is that it's going to be tougher for buyers to now go and look at property. And because of that friction, there's going to be properties that sit for longer. And so when these listings get to 60 days, 90 days, and the seller is discouraged and they just want to get rid of this house as quick as they can, if you're then able to reach out to every single seller who's been on there for 90 days and that number has increased dramatically, I think there's an opportunity there to get some lowball offers in and get yourself a 3% commission on a lowball offer and make money that way and do a quick renovation. And then if you're willing to list it and just hold out a little bit longer, that's my personal guess. We'll see what happens.
I also think, for the same reason and kind of along that line, it doesn't have to be a lowball offer. you could be offering at close to what they bought it for a few years ago, and they've got a great loan on it, and take over their loan. They call it subject to. We've been looking at that. We just did one that I'm very happy with, and I think there's going to be more and more of that.
Absolutely. Aaron apologizes for always winning the weekly points competition. No worries, man.
Don't stop, Aaron. Don't stop.
Please. All right. Andy's asking, what is the quickest way to get started if you already have your deposit ready? Andy, could you clarify below? Are you talking about like a deposit for a conventional mortgage, FHA type deposit? I would assume that's what you're talking about. But what would you do?
Yeah, so if you've got your deposit ready and you're pre-qualified for a loan and you're going to go out and you're going to try and find a cash flowing property, then I would be looking at the MLS, and I would be trying to figure out where there is some money to be made because of what just happened with the MLS. So to McKenna's point, looking on what is it, realtor.com, and seeing stuff that's been on the market for 60 or 90 days already. And then now you know that on Saturday, like 2 days ago, they blew up the MLS, and nobody knows what's going on. And so things are going to stay on the market a little bit longer. If you see those things go 100 days, I'd start calling on all of them.
Yeah.
Like, and to the extent that you're able to get in touch directly with the sellers, I'd do that. I'd skip the realtors altogether if you can.
Yep.
But if you have to use a realtor, just kind of target that older stuff.
Yeah.
And I think there will be deals. I think there are going to be some people that are going to be afraid that the market slowed down a little bit in the summer of 2024, and before interest rates drop, there's going to be a lot of fear in the market, and there are going to be some people that are ready to sell. So I think for the rest of the year, it's a good time to be a buyer.
And then, Andy, I would answer it in a slightly different way. The quickest way to get started, if it were me, I would figure out a system where I can go and look at 100 properties a week and make 100 offers a week at numbers that make sense, like Julio was talking about with his spreadsheets, and get those offers out every single week. And when you do that process, you're going to find a deal. That's how you get to this first stage. We always teach the first most important thing is to find a deal. Then when you have the deal, you can go and find the money to do it. And then after you have the money, you can go and get it renovated, and then you can sell it. And we go over all of that in our Apex community. I posted a link down below, but we have a course, and we go A to Z if you want more details there. But we also do these YouTube lives every week. So tune into these, keep asking questions, start trying to make offers. And then when you get to a roadblock, come into here on this YouTube live and post a question like, hey, McKenna, hey, Robbie, I encountered this week. What would you do in this situation? I wasn't sure how to proceed. And that's the exact kind of question we'd love to talk about and get you that info. We'll get as detailed as we can on these questions.
And I'm reading the question. I have to guess what the question is, but
Yep.
I'm assuming that Andy is saying, hey, I'm going to buy it with a conventional loan. I've got the deposit, and I'm looking for cash flow. So maybe he's looking for a house hack. Maybe he's looking for a rental property. But you don't generally think of the lowball cash offer or the lowball offer as someone who's going to go to the bank and borrow the money. So that is where I read the question. And even though it doesn't say anything like that in there, I'm thinking that Andy's likely looking for cash flow and likely looking for something that he can buy with a good loan and get cash flow. And if that's true, then you probably don't have to look at 100 properties. You cut your number way down. So now you're just looking at
on market
cash flow. What's the cash flow that you can get? So you can look at a lot of on market deals on the MLS, and that's why I answered it that way. So anyway,
and both are good answers. So whichever works for you guys. Hey guys, I'm looking for some advice. I have a place in New Jersey and recently purchased a place in Puerto Rico, but I'm all out of capital. But there's great investments. There's some help to be able to finish up. I'm looking for a hard money lender that can help me on both ends of the board. Both in New Jersey and Puerto Rico, or both in for capital and renovations. somehow.
So I'm thinking he's saying he's got a property in New Jersey that's a great opportunity. Maybe he owns it free and clear, and he needs to pull some money out of that. I think there are people inside of this community that he should talk to. Bill Halleck is in New Jersey. He's a good friend. He's in the mortgage business, but he's also a hard money lender guy. He's also a guy who buys things and fixes them up and sells them. And by the way, he does deals in New Jersey and in Puerto Rico. And Angel, if you could clarify what you're asking for, are you looking for hard money loans on either Puerto Rico or New Jersey, or are you looking for partnerships? What is it that you're looking for? What would look like a winning situation for you?
Let us know below.
Yeah, but
please
just put it back in the text and we'll pull it back up.
Yeah. Paul says, thank you. Appreciate your time. Ricardo, if you want to refinance and the crim is important, I missed that, Ricardo. I'm sorry. Josue, what is your experience presenting offers for foreclosure homes to financial institutions in Puerto Rico?
So foreclosure homes to financial institutions in Puerto Rico, that means that they're REOs. That means the bank has taken it from the former owner. They brought it all the way through the foreclosure process. It went to the courthouse steps. No one bought it. The bank took the property and now they have title to it. And they have a real estate owned department. We loved buying properties from the banks and we still do love it. But when we first came to the island, it was like our favorite way to buy things. We would just go on the websites of the different banks, look at the real estate that they had for sale and make them offers. And we got some tremendous deals that way. Most of that old inventory after Maria got eaten up. And now there is some new inventory coming on. There's some foreclosures again. For a long time during COVID and after the storm and then during COVID, there was moratoriums on foreclosures. So you saw the banks kind of sell all of their REO stuff, but they're starting to pile it back up. You can go on to Show and you can find stuff there. I know First Bank has a real estate owned website somewhere. You can Google search these things. I love offering to the banks because I don't feel as bad when I make them a low offer. One instance would be I bought a 4-family house in Fajardo from Show, which is Banco Popular. They were asking $105,000 for it. I originally offered them like $15,000 for it, and I bought the property for $22,000 or $24,000. So I mean it was a no-brainer, right? I offered them a ridiculous offer. They came back with a counter offer that was just like, holy shit, I can't believe they would take that.
I can't believe they're countering.
They're countering me that. And so I bought it. And then 2 years ago, we sold it for $250,000. So yeah, I really, really like buying from banks, right? I'm unashamed about making low cash offers. Yeah. I don't care about their feelings at all.
Well, and they don't have any feelings.
Yeah. But
just a number on a spreadsheet
to them. Yeah. But if you're looking at an old man who's been living in the house and raised his family and you're making that lowball cash offer, that's just never been me. I'm not saying I've never done that, but it's just, I never feel good about that. So
it's a tougher.
Yeah. I really like buying from the banks.
Yeah. Paul, the Santurce home you were selling, is it still available?
It is. Yeah, it is, Paul.
I don't want him to sell it. So
yeah, we're struggling with that. So we haven't had any offers, and we actually own like most of the building. And so if we sold one because we were in a cash crunch, maybe that wouldn't be the greatest idea. So we were thinking, do we sell them all or do we sell none of them? Yeah. And that's where we're at right now. If we're going to sell it, we may sell 6 of them instead of 1 of them. We'll see.
Not rocket science. 3,000 square foot commercial building in the mountains. I've already made an offer on it. I'm liable for the last 5 years of crim. Anywhere I can get an estimate on taxes.
Crim. Yeah, you can call them. Who else and where else? Adon, are you listening here? Can you chime in on this one? Because I know you look at this stuff all the time. But I think you can find the crim. You can figure out what the last 5 years. I would recommend, and what we've done when we're in this position is go down there and try and get them to tell you what it is, and then negotiate with them. Yes, you're responsible for the last 5 years, but are you responsible for the penalties and the interest and all of that stuff? I think some of that's negotiable sometimes.
Yeah. Don, if you want to pop back in and let us know.
The way I have it understood is that if let's say the property owes 25 years, then you should be able to argue if you're buying it now to be able to pay the last 5 years of the property tax. So you are liable for the last 5 years. If it's over 5 years, then you can always bring it down to the 5-year mark. That's the way I have it.
What about penalties and interest? Do you have to pay that as well, or can you negotiate?
I would imagine you can get all that stuff removed. Again, if it's over 5 years, everything that accrued after 5 years, you should be able to take out of the as final number.
All right. Maritza Diaz says, "Hey guys, nice to listen to your podcast."
Maritza's was my business partner for a long time. We did 1,000 houses together.
Yeah. So
and then she moved off to live in the Keys and fish.
Yeah.
She's got the good life.
She's doing well.
Yeah, she's got the yacht in the backyard and everything.
I see your Instagram, Maritza, all the time. It's just you going out lobstering and fishing, and it's good. Problem in Puerto Rico is the contractors when you're talking about renovations. Yeah, they're tough. Angel, I'm a contractor specializing in the States, specializing in roofing and waterproofing, so I don't think those types of issues would be a problem for me, but I'm looking to invest a lot more in Puerto Rico and moving my investments that direction.
So how do I answer that, Angel? The best business decision I ever made was coming to Puerto Rico and opening up a business from scratch. Yeah. And really, when I arrived on the island, I could see that there was a lot of distress. I could see that there were a lot of things that I figured that I could make money on. What I didn't know is I didn't know anybody. I didn't speak the language, and I had never renovated anything on the island. And we did it. Like we showed up and started buying things and started fighting that fight to get it done. And everything's a little bit harder. Everything takes a little bit longer. Yeah. But I mean, when I look at from an investment standpoint, the amount of dollars that we made over the last 6.5 years because we were in Puerto Rico, and try and think about what would have happened had I not gone to Puerto Rico, I think I would have still made a fine living, but my net worth probably wouldn't have tripled, right? Like it was just coming to the island of Puerto Rico is a really good idea. And I say this often, if you have ties to the island, you should be looking at the island, come back. It's a great time to be investing in Puerto Rico right now.
Paul, for flooring, do you have to do tile in Puerto Rico, or are there other great durable options for flooring?
I would say 99% of the stuff that gets done is tile on the island.
You guys don't do LVP at all?
We did LVP in a penthouse condo that I just finished recently, and it looks okay. I wish I'd gone with tile.
Really?
Yeah.
They just didn't know to install it?
I had to install it twice, so that hurt a little bit. And even the second time, it's a little scuffed up. It's just not as easy because my workers don't work with the LVP.
Yeah.
And because they're so good at tile, I don't like doing drywall, and I don't like doing anything other than tile floors because that's what my guys know.
Yeah.
And they can build a wall out of concrete as fast as my guys in Florida can build a wall out of sticks and drywall, right? and they can put tile down and make it look beautiful as easily as our guys here can put down LVP. Man. So
Pip is asking if we can share the link for the tax deeds. Yes. Well,
for Florida, we can share lots and lots of links. There is no tax deed on the island of Puerto Rico. And where are you investing, Pip? Where are you from?
I think you told us last week, and I can't remember.
But Florida, it's easy. And if you're in the States, you can just Google search it. But we can put up myorangeclerk.com is the one that I like to go, or myorangeclerk.org or .com is the one I like to go to in Central Florida. And then you can jump from there to every county in the state that's online.
Yeah. Do I have to join something or have some sort of subscription to have my questions posted, or is it like it was before? I've joined your conversations in the past and gotten direct answers, but are looking to stay informed and get on board with the team. Well, you do not have to purchase anything to come here on this show and have your questions posted. Probably, we're just getting more and more people, so it takes a little bit longer to get through everyone's questions. We do have the school communities, both the free one that is, you can make your posts in there and we will get to those questions. The community comes and answers those. And then we also have a paid community where we're doing weekly master classes as well as this Monday Night Live. And
have courses.
We have a course as well. And the master classes are pretty exciting. They're pretty similar to this, but we'll do a 2-hour deep dive into a certain topic. Last week, we brought on our hard money lender and went into how to find financing and how to find money for projects and what does he look like? What does he look at as a lender when he's looking at a new investor? What criteria does he want? If you wanted to go and do a new deal with someone new, what paperwork do you need and everything like that? So those are the types of subjects we do in there. And that's in our Apex group. I've posted the link here. So if you guys are interested, check it out.
Yeah, and if you want to join the free school community, it's called the Flip Flop Flipper, just like the YouTube is. And it's a great place to come and network, and Angel come in and put your questions in there. And not only will I try to respond, McKenna responds, Adon as well, but we have some other guys, and I mean, it's really a networking forum. We've got 400 or 500 people in there.
Yeah, 458 right now.
And we have people that are doing deals in there and networking together. And so that's a great place that's free and it's easy to come. It's a little more interactive than just waiting for a Monday Night Live because you can be doing this all week long.
Yes.
And then if you really want to kickstart it, you jump into Apex. And right now that costs $50 a month to get all the courses that we have and all the master classes.
All the one course.
we have only one how to fix and flip. We will have one coming up in a month or so, and we're going to try to update that library often.
Yes.
Anyways, that's what we've got going on. So
absolutely. Ricardo's asking what happened to the MLS. That's a big question.
Oh, Ricardo, great question. Yeah, so we'll put some content out about this shortly, but basically there was a lawsuit, and they determined that what the MLS had been doing for the last, 50 years was price fixing, basically. And they said that because everywhere in the United States, it was 5 or 6% was what all listing brokers were charging. And then they would share their listings with people who were representing the buyers. And so if they were getting a 6% commission, they would give 3% to the buyer side.
Yep.
They were calling that price fixing. And so now they have said that's gone. And so brokers or real estate agents like McKenna now have to negotiate their commission anytime they're representing a buyer, and they have to do it on every individual showing. So it's kind of a disaster. It makes it very hard. McKenna just sold a couple houses to friends.
Yeah.
And luckily he got that done under the radar.
Before.
Yeah. Because if he was showing them this week,
yeah,
he's submitting so much paperwork. So if he wants to show 5 houses, he has to submit paperwork on 5 houses with the one buyer.
Yes.
And it's a disaster. Honestly, it's a disaster. It will probably figure itself out, hopefully quickly.
Yeah.
But right now, things aren't being shown. I've got some houses on the MLS in Central Florida, and we haven't had any showings since Saturday.
Yeah, it's tough. Well, and so what happens, I take my friends, I tell them, I only represent my friends. I only work with people I know, like, and trust. And I don't particularly like being a realtor. So I want to get them a good deal. And that to me involves, we're going to look at 25 properties together. We're going to go see a ton of real estate, and I'm going to make an offer on every single one of them. But now to do that same process with my friends, I have to get a ton of paperwork done, and I'm willing to do it because it's my groomsmen or whoever it is. But if you're just Joe Schmo and you find a realtor on Redfin and you want to see more than 3 houses, you're going to have to start paying realtors. It's going to get really tough to find people to take you to see properties.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens in the weeks coming up and how people handle it. All the different brokerages are going to have different systems. So we'll see.
And as a seller,
yeah,
I'm getting these messages that say, "Hey, what are you willing to pay?" And I'm trying to think, what's the right answer? Am I willing to pay 3%? Well, I'd be willing to pay 3% if you bring me a full price offer. I heard, now I'm not licensed, so I think I can do whatever the hell I want. But
I think so.
But if I were licensed, I can't just say, "Hey, I'd pay 3% with a full price offer, and I'd pay less with a less offer." I have to kind of try and figure out how to navigate that. So what I've been telling everybody is that we'll look at every offer on an individual basis and just make your offer with the best commission that you can. And so then that puts it back on these real estate agents, and they're stupid, guys. They don't know what the hell they're doing anyway. They didn't know what they were doing before when they were bringing a buyer. Now they have to negotiate their own commissions. Yeah. We're going to see lots and lots of bad realtors leave the industry. So maybe that's going to be good in the really long run, but I think it's going to hurt. I think it's going to hurt buyers a lot. I think it's going to hurt sellers probably an equal amount. The only people, again, that I see an avenue for this to be something that will be profitable is people like myself, because now I can go out to all of the realtors and say, hey, I'll pay you 2% to go and represent me, and you don't have to negotiate your commission, and I'll just make it super easy for them and have them negotiate deals for me. Yeah. And so that's where I see who's going to win on this. I think real estate investors could win.
Yeah, I think because we look at all the deals.
Yeah.
I mean, and now there's just more friction in the market. Guys, we're running out of time, but I really like this question, so I wanted to sneak one more in here. Angel has several deals that he ran out of money on, but he's got one in Puerto Rico and one in New Jersey. They're both sitting because he can't find the money to finish them off. They're paid off, no mortgages, but I'm looking for direction. Thanks, guys. Any help you can give? He has a bunch of places in New Jersey that are paid off with plenty of equity, and he's hoping to build a relationship with a lender that can complement what I do, which is construction by fix and sell in New Jersey and Puerto Rico. But I'm starting to lean more towards Puerto Rico because of you guys.
Well, Angel, I mentioned Bill Halleck by name earlier. I don't think you're in the school community and you were asking. Join the free community and send me a message. I'll connect you with Bill Halleck. And if he can't do something with your New Jersey stuff, certainly I can look at the Puerto Rico stuff with you. We'll think deeper. We'll dig deeper. But yeah, let's jump in the school community and we can have this conversation over the next few days in there. Hopefully you'll join the paid community, but for now, just come over and join us on the free school community and send me a private message once you're in there, and I'll connect us up so that we're chatting with Bill Halleck, especially about your New Jersey stuff.
Yeah, if it were me, and I'm assuming your cash flow, your stuff in New Jersey is cash flowing, you can pretty easily get a banker who will give you some sort of line of credit on cash flowing rentals if you have more than 4, more than 5.
Yeah.
And then you can use that equity to finish your projects in Puerto Rico. You sell the projects in Puerto Rico to pay back your line of credit. You make profit, rinse and repeat. Well, guys, I think that's the end of the show. I see a couple more questions, but we're really running out of time here. And we, want to respect everyone's time. Anything else we want to say before we hop off?
That went really fast.
It did go really fast.
Yeah, that went really fast. So, guys, we're going to do this again next Monday. McKenna won't be with us because he'll be on his honeymoon, but Adon and I will be here.
Married on Saturday.
McKenna's getting married on Saturday, so everybody give him a big congratulations. Give him a like.
Please, yeah. Like, subscribe, send me a message in school telling me congratulations.
Yeah, all of that stuff. So we'll see you next week. Thanks, guys, for watching. I really appreciate all the great questions, and we'll do this again next week.
Yeah. And hey, guys, I know that we have questions that we didn't get to. Post them in school and we'll answer them. And also come early next week, guys. And we can, if you start posting questions at the beginning, we'll definitely have time to get to yours. So thanks, guys.
Yeah, that's great. Anybody who's not in school that has questions that we didn't get to, join the free school account and ask the questions in there, and we'll continue the conversation via chat over there.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
All right. Good night, guys.
Good night, guys. God bless.